Something just happened that Keir Starmer didn't see coming. A move that was meant to solidify Labour's position may have just blown a hole straight through it. In politics, timing is everything, and right now, the clock may have just started ticking on a crisis Starmer can't afford. Starmer gets rude awakening as plans backfires. A political shakeup is unfolding, and it's not coming from the usual suspects. Let's get into it. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Keir Starmer has just been dealt a significant political blow, and it's one that could send shockwaves through the Labour Party. A new poll conducted by More in Common paints a stark picture of Labour's waning popularity, revealing that the party is now slumped into third place behind both the Conservatives and the surging Reform UK. Let's break this down. According to the survey, Labour's support has dropped to just 21%. That's a dramatic fall considering where they stood not so long ago. Meanwhile, Nigel Farage's populist Reform UK has soared to 25%, overtaking Labour and firmly staking its claim as a major force in British politics. And in first place, the Conservatives, now led by Kemi Badenoch, have edged out a narrow lead with 26%. That's right, Starmer's Labour is not only trailing behind the party they've been trying to unseat, but also behind the insurgent Reform UK, a party dismissed not long ago as fringe. Now it's commanding attention, support and momentum. Elsewhere in the poll, the Liberal Democrats are holding at 13%, and the Greens follow slightly behind at 7%. But all eyes are on that top three. Luke Trill, the UK director of More in Common, offered some context. He acknowledged this may be just one poll and possibly captured voters at a particularly bad moment for Labour. But even with that caveat, he stressed that the long-term trend is unarguable. Labour, he says, has lost a third of the vote it secured just last July. And to make matters worse, the recent spring statement, which was supposed to serve as a moment of reset or renewal for Labour, seems to have backfired. Instead of restoring faith in the party, it's deepened the disillusionment. And here's the real kicker. While conventional wisdom has often suggested that a split right-wing vote between the Tories and Reform UK would ultimately benefit Labour, Trail warns that might not be the case. If the combined Conservative Reform vote consistently clears 50%, Labour could be squeezed from both sides. The right may end up making gains at Labour's expense, despite competing with one another. This polling shift has major implications for the next general election. According to electoral calculus, in a scenario like this, the Conservatives under Kemi Badenoch would be projected to win the most seats, 223 in total. But that's still well short of the 326 seats needed to form a majority government. To bridge that gap, the Tories would almost certainly need to go into coalition, most likely with Reform UK. And here's where things get really interesting. Under this projection, Reform UK would win 170 seats. That's a seismic change from the 2024 general election, where they returned just 5 MPs. If this trajectory continues, Reform would become not just a political irritant to the Conservatives, but an essential partner in government. In practical terms, that would mean Nigel Farage, or whoever leads Reform at the time, could become a kingmaker. He'd have serious leverage in shaping policy, cabinet appointments, and the direction of any future right-wing government. It would mark a fundamental shift in the balance of power in British politics. So what does all this mean for Keir Starmer and Labour? It's clear that voters are restless. The public isn't buying what Labour is selling. The attempt to play it safe, to straddle the middle ground, and to wait for the Conservatives to self-destruct, those strategies are now being put to the test. And arguably, they're failing. Labour isn't just losing votes, they're losing relevance. And if Starmer can't find a way to inspire, energize, or even just hold the line, he risks not only losing the next election, but handing power to a right-wing alliance that is gaining strength by the day. The message from voters is becoming louder and clearer. Labour can't assume anything anymore, not loyalty, not inevitability, and certainly not victory. In other news, Labour has announced plans to conduct a second evaluation of e-scooter trials across the UK, with results expected in May 2026. Transport Minister Lord Hendy revealed the decision during a House of Lords session yesterday, explaining that while an initial evaluation took place in 2021 with results published in 2022, the previous government failed to take further action. As travel patterns have continued to change, the government has decided to undertake a second evaluation, Hendy stated. The new assessment, due to begin this spring, aims to collect up-to-date and robust evidence on safety, mode shift, and usage to inform future legislation. The scale of illegal e-scooter use in Britain was highlighted by Baroness McIntosh of Pickering, who questioned how many evaluations were actually needed. There are 1.2 million e-scooters currently illegally used in general circulation, and 47 people have been killed since 2019. The status quo cannot continue, she told the Lords. The Conservative peer expressed particular concern about riders mounting pavements at speed, terrorising pedestrians. She urged the government to ensure that if the current ban on illegally operated scooters is not enforced, they should introduce a regulatory framework with proper insurance to avoid draining resources from the Motor Insurance Bureau. Safety concerns around e-scooters have extended beyond reckless riding, with battery fires emerging as a significant hazard, MPs warned. Labour peer Lord Berkeley highlighted this issue, asking whether it was more important to have some proper standards of the quality and the way that batteries are fixed to cycles and scooters. Hendy acknowledged these dangers, referencing the Department for Business and Trade's Buy Safe Be Safe campaign launched last October, which aims to raise awareness about unsafe e-bikes, e-scooters and batteries. The minister cited a recent incident at Rayners Lane Station, noting that anybody who was standing remotely near that incident would have been very severely injured, if not killed, by the spontaneous explosion and subsequent fire. But Liberal Democrat peer Baroness Pigeon questioned the nature of the ongoing trials, which began rolling out across the UK on July 4, 2020. She asked, "What is the minister's definition of a trial? Or is this in reality the legalisation of e-scooters by the back door?" But Hendy firmly rejected this characterisation and instead told the House that it certainly isn't the legalisation by the back door. However, Conservative Lord Moylan criticised the extended timeline, suggesting the government was letting it drift until May 2026, with legislation potentially not arriving until 2027, possibly after another general election. The impact on vulnerable pedestrians was emphasised by several peers, with particular concern for disabled people. Baroness Brinton highlighted specific accessibility issues, noting that at Old Kingsway, it is now almost impossible to get access to the bus stop, not just if you were in a wheelchair or with a guide dog, but a passenger as well. She described seeing sometimes as many as 100 poorly parked vehicles blocking access. Hendy suggested local authorities should better control hire schemes to ensure proper parking and collection. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.